Do you use a microwave and wonder how it affects your health? Hello, my successful and healthy earthlings. Mihaela Raguj here, naturopath and founder of the Natural Health Podcast. Today I will share with you an effect that the microwave radiation may have on your cognitive health. I'll go through microwave radiation, what it is, how a microwave affects your brain health, and then 3 tips to optimize your brain health. At the end of this episode, I'm also going to give you the opportunity to join our health and success oriented community by joining the newsletter and clicking the link below. Welcome to the Natural Health Podcast, where we bring awareness to sustainable health in the business hustle space. The Natural Health Podcast is perfect for the high-performing, business-minded individuals who want to work with their biochemistry to achieve success and optimal health. It's Mondays with Mihaela. That's right, me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Absolutely love, and appreciate your support. Here on Mondays, I'm here to provide you with simple, savvy, and sustainable health hacks to optimize your health. Let's get into today's episode. In today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about microwaves. Microwaves, everything, right? Who doesn't love a microwave? Who has a microwave? Do you currently have a microwave in your home? Do you know an individual who has a microwave at home? But let's go and talk about what is microwave radiation. But I thought I would introduce a little bit of history about microwaves. The first microwave ever introduced here in the homes of Australia was in 1966 by Panasonic. So they're the ones that introduced microwaves here in the homes of Australians. Consumers across Australia were surveyed by Panasonic and found that 80% use a microwave every single day. 39% use it more than 3 times a day, and 71% say microwaves are an invaluable cooking assistance they could not live without. So as we can say, here us Aussies are addicted to microwaves, and it's just become another appliance in our kitchens that is a must have. And I mean, if you go to the shops, you can literally get a microwave for $50 or even sometimes cheaper. So they've become really inexpensive, and most individuals use it every single day. The World Health Organization regard electromagnetic waves as the 4th pollutant. And the International Agency of Research and Cancer also classify electromagnetic waves as possible carcinogenic to humans. I thought I'll start off by saying that because it's very important to understand that it's not just woo-woo, people that are woo-woo or hippie that don't want microwaves in their home. It's actually proven by World Health Organization, the International Agency on Research on Cancer. They are saying that, hey, you're using your microwave, possible carcinogenic. So let's look into it, right? So how does it actually all work? So microwaves are a form of electromagnetic radiation, that is, they are waves of electrical and magnetic energy moving together through space. Kind of beautiful, right? Electromagnetic radiation spans a broad spectrum from very long radio waves to very short gamma waves. The human eye can only detect a small portion of this spectrum called visible light. A radio detects a different portion of the spectrum, and an X-ray machine uses yet another one. Microwave ovens generate intense microwaves within a capacity of an oven, right? As we know, it's oven door, you go in there, well, you wouldn't go in there, it's tiny, it's just in there that it creates it. The waves are reflected of a metal interior of the oven and readily absorbed by water molecules in the food. Food is heated by absorbing the energy from the microwave, bouncing around inside the oven. Simplicity, water molecules within the food are vibrated back and forth by the microwaves, and the result, friction, causing the food to heat up. That's kind of what happens, the chemistry. I mean, you can just chuck it in, do a bit of a research on how does a microwave oven work, and you can see in there, but essentially it is the radiation heats the food up in simple terms. But so an average microwave radiation generally falls under the 2.4 GHz, okay? But it can vary dramatically. So microwave consists of any wavelength between 300 MHz, which is 0.3 GHz, and 300 GHz. The range energy depends on the strength of the wavelength, the microwave, and so forth. This is important to note because the research that I go into talks about these GHz and how they can impact your brain. So let's go into that. How a microwave affects your cognition, your brain. So I'm going to start off with a boom. Okay, here we go. The central nervous system is considered one of the most sensitive targets for microwave exposure. What is your central nervous system? It is responsible for all your nerves. It's your central nervous system. It's your brain. It's your brainstem. It's your spinal cord. It is responsible and it's responsible for so many actions inside of our body. And what this is saying is that the microwave exposure, that this area of our body is affected mostly by microwave exposure. Now that is mind-blowing. Previous studies have also found that microwaves can induce certain damage, such as impairment of memory function. So yes, it's been proven that microwave can affect memory function. Inhibition of brain electrical activity. Degeneration of your hypocapital tissue structure. This is very concerning. Very, very, very concerning. Okay, so the study that I looked into, there's two. One was a study in 2017, and they looked at, let's have a look, they looked at rats. So these two studies were both done on rats. I mean, you wouldn't chuck a human in electromagnetic things. It's not humanly ethical. I don't think if it's unethical doing it on animals. So, sometimes I read these studies and I'm like, oh, these poor rats. So this is done on rats, but we can see how it can be shown in humans too. So let's go into them. Man-made microwave and radio frequency radiation technologies have been increasing and a growing demand for electronic appliances such as microwave cells and so forth, right? These appliances affect biological systems by increasing free radicals, leading to oxidative damage. Oxidative damage causes so many diseases. Oxidative damage is part of so many diseases, okay? The aim of this study was to explore the effect of 2.45 GHz microradiation on historical and level of lipid peroxide in Wistar rats. The 60-year-old, so what they did is they had 60-day-old male rats with 180 minus plus 10 grams of body fat were used for this study. Animals were divided into two groups, the control and the microwave exposed. They were exposed for only 2 hours a day for 35 days to this microwave radiation. After completion of the exposure period, rats were sacrificed and they looked into their brain, liver, kidney, testicles, spleens. They were stored and preserved for determination. And significantly high levels of lipid peroxide was observed in the liver, brain, and the spleen in samples of the rats exposed to microwave radiation. Now if that didn't blow your mind, it should. And if that didn't make sense to you, let's put it this way. Microwave affects your liver, brain, spleen. Your liver, brain, spleen. They're absolutely necessary for you to function. And it affects it in a negative way. So there you have it. They concluded that exposure to microwave radiation 2 hours a day for 35 days can potentially cause oxidative changes in these rats. These results indicated possible implications for such exposure for human health. Let's just breathe on that. That is some deep stuff, right? So, next time we put on that microwave, I know you're probably like, you know what, you're probably thinking, well, but hey, I don't spend 2 hours, or how long was it? 2 hours, 2 hours a day in front of a microwave. Okay, so let's go back to the start. I said most people use it once a day. Some people use it more than 3 times a day. And if you're heating it up for, let's say, 10 minutes, you're heating something up 3 times, that's 30 minutes already. That is huge. That's definitely having an impact. Let's look at the second study I looked at. The second study I looked at actually came out this year in May, literally 2 months ago. So a total of 140 males, 8-week-old rats, were provided by the Beijing Vital River Laboratory Animal Technology and maintained at 22 plus minus 2 degrees with a 12-hour light dark cycle. The source admitted was 1.5, lower than the first study, GHZ, and 4.3 GHZ's microradiations were used to conduct the experiment. So the average power density used in the study was, so we don't need to know that. That's a lot of information. If you want, I'm more than happy to share that with you. But essentially what they looked at was the radiation exposure. They concluded that microwave exposure was able to affect spatial learning and memory abilities, as well as the structure and energy metabolism of the hippocampus. However, the damage effect of microwave on hippocampus might be reversible, as at 28 days after the radiation, the rats in each radiation group and the hypothalamus microstructure and the content of hypothalamus were restored to similar conditions to those as the control group. Meanwhile, there were no significant differences between the 1.5 and 4.3 GHD's microwave exposure. So there's not much difference between, it's just you are exposed, okay? And no interaction effects were observed. So they've observed that the damage effects caused by microwaves at the two frequencies are slightly different. This may be due to the differences in parameters. Okay, so essentially they're saying it is affecting your brain. Your brain is getting affected in a negative way with this microwave radiation exposure. Two studies, a few years apart, different radiation statuses, different wavelengths and so forth. But the interesting thing about this study is saying that can be reversed. So what this means is, and I took the positive out of it, is, okay, so I have, let's say someone like yourself, you've used microwaves in your past, but there's an opportunity for you to get rid of that microwave. And I'm not for buying stuff and then getting rid of it because, yes, it impacts our environment and so forth. Make some use of it. I don't know, make something scrap metal, melt it or whatever needs to be done. Because do you really want that in your home? This microwave exposure? And think about this, right? If your microwave is at the level of your head and you're putting it on and off, opening it, closing it, and it's the level of your head, it's impacting your brain directly. And especially if you're standing there counting down 10, 9, 8, 7, and you still take it out before it counts down, but still, your level, your head is right in front of the microwave. It's like bam. And the dangers are that there might be a leak, possible leak, or because if you have an old microwave, there might be a little exposure site and that radiation comes out, boom, okay? It's not going to melt you. I'm not going to say you're going to be flubber or anything and melt it. But what I'm saying is, and what these studies are saying, it's going to affect your brain. It's going to affect your central nervous system. And if you already are stressed, if you already are overactivated, if you already are anxious, depressed, if you already have central nervous system disorders or issues, why do you need a microwave at home to add to it? You don't, do you? Okay, so let's look into 3 tips for your brain health. Number 1 is don't use a microwave. You knew that was coming. You knew it was coming and you might think, oh my gosh, it's going to make my life harder. There's a pot, there's a pan, there's your oven right there or whatever you have, heat it up like that, okay? If need be, or eat it cold, or whatever you need to do. But is there a need to have a microwave in your home? Number 2, ensure if you do have the microwave that it is sealed properly. There's no leaking of radiation through it, and it is new, and there's no issues with it. Make sure it's repaired and it's new if you are having it in there, and it is away from you. It is away from you, especially for males. If the microwave is near your reproductive system, near your where your reproductive system is, if it's near there, that's not good, right? That can affect sperm health dramatically. And the same goes for ovaries. And same goes for kids. If the kids are near their head, if it's that low and the microwave is low and the kids are there playing with it, it's near their head, okay? Third one is, if you are using it, use it as little as possible. Reduce your intake of microwave stuff, okay? So think about why you're using the microwave and if there's any way that you can reduce your microwave use or totally remove it. Let me know in the comments below if you use a microwave, what you use it for, if you've actually got your microwave and removed it out of your home. Let me know. Keep me updated in the comments below. And do what you do best. Love, like, share the Natural Health Podcast. Share this episode with someone who uses the microwave all the time and maybe the memory is declining. Because if you may get rid of that microwave, your memory might come back. I don't know, think about it. It's up to you. It's your call. You're the one that's proactive about your health and your health is in your control. I'm just here to provide you with information so you're able to take it and do what you wish with it. Okay, and share it with others so you wake them up a little bit about their health and be proactive. Do what you do best. Love, like, share, Natural Health Podcast. Really appreciate it. And if you want to join a success and health-oriented community and you want to know the latest research, you want to know bonuses for products, some specials from our guests, be the first one to know about these podcasts, join the Natural Health newsletter by clicking the link below and you will be notified about all of this every Friday with all this information absolutely amazing information just for you. This newsletter is made for you. It's not benefiting me in any way. It's only benefiting you. And that's what I'm here for you to do, is to benefit your health so you can achieve optimal health. Remember, the missing link between failure and success is your health. Content and information provided here is opinion of Mahela Raguse and is for information purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. It is not intended to provide medical advice or take the place of medical advice or any current treatment you're undertaking. Consult your own medical professionals for any medical issues that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the Natural Health Podcast. It is advised that you consult your doctor or healthcare professional in relation to any health concerns you may be having. Mahela Raguse does not take responsibility for any health consequences which occur from a person listening, viewing, or reading this content. Under no circumstances shall the Natural Health Podcast, Mahela Raguse, any guests or contributors to the Natural Health Podcast, or any employees, associates, or affiliates of Mahela Raguse be responsible for damages arising from the information provided on the Natural Health Podcast. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical conditions in either yourself or others. Please note, if you're taking prescription, do not stop your medication or start a new protocol, including but not limited to supplements, diet, lifestyle changes without consulting your doctor or healthcare professional. If you or any person has a medical concern, you should consult with your healthcare provider or seek other professional medical advice. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something that you have read or heard on the Natural Health Podcast or in any linked materials. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. Neither Mahela Raguse nor the publisher of this content takes responsibility for the possible health consequences of any person or persons reading or listening or following the information in educational content.